Hi, my name is O'Shane and I love Pixar, and I think what they're doing at the moment is just amazing, and they're one of the best movie studios, and they're just hitting out hit after hit after hit all the time. And with the masterpiece they dropped on us last week, which was Toy Story 4, and not only animation but the story of it as well was amazing, I thought now was a perfect time to rank all these movies, so let's get started. And unsurprisingly to probably everyone, Cars 2 comes in the last. Where this movie, it does have good moments. Lightning McQueen is still good in this movie, but they chose to put Mater in the first, as in the main character, which doesn't really work because he has good moments in the first, but he's very annoying in the second, and you can tell by the third they really sideline him because they don't want you to remember Cars 2, which even the studio, they try to pretend like Cars 2 never happened, but you can tell straight away this is a cash grab because I think Cars in general, I think it's the most profitable franchise of all time just because of the merchandise they've sold. So, but even though it's the worst from this studio, it's compared to other studios, it could be one of the best. Brave does have good moments, but my only problem with this movie is that it feels more like it's Disney and it Pixar's ear the entire time saying you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. But it's the end result of this movie. It doesn't seem like a Pixar movie or a Disney movie. It kind of seems like DreamWorks trying to copy Disney and it falling flat on their face. Because if it wasn't for Disney making Merida a Disney princess, I think this movie would probably be forgotten about even more than it actually is. For a movie with absolutely stunning animated backgrounds, they chose to really cartoonize the characters, which doesn't really blend well with the actual background of the animation. So not only does the characters look very weird in this movie, but the story is just very formulaic, and you feel like you've seen this movie about 10 times before actually watching this movie from start to finish. Pixar's second movie doesn't really hold up that well. Besides some memorable scenes in this movie, the animation isn't as good as it was in Toy Story 1 or Toy Story 2. And from a villain, that reminds me a lot of Negan from The Walking Dead. If it wasn't for that, he'd be forgettable. So all I can say about this movie is it's pretty forgettable. A movie that continues the franchise a lot better than part 2. This movie, it's enjoyable enough. There's a lot of scenes in it that remind me of Rocky 2 and 3. But I think personally I like this movie a lot more because it was the first movie that I actually went out with my girlfriend. So I like it a lot more because of that. Leaving the cinema after the first time seeing this movie, I absolutely loved it. But for the more time I've actually had to think about it, it's kind of fallen down a lot more than it actually was because the villain was extremely obvious, where I was able to actually predict who the villain was going to be from the trailers, which isn't a really good sign when you want a twist villain. But besides that, the animation is beautiful, and it's good to catch up with these characters after so long. Pixar's first attempt at a prequel is a success to me. We get to see how Mike and Sully met back in college. You can tell they did this because they didn't want to actually deal with the whole Boo situation, but I kind of hope eventually we get to see that because I would like to see what happens next. But besides that, it's a fun movie with heartwarming moments that doesn't really live up to the original though. An unexpected sequel from Pixar that gives us great new additions to the cast like Hank Deceptopus, but besides that, it's not very memorable. It's got memorable moments. I don't tend to watch it as much as Finding Nemo, because in my opinion, if I want to watch one of these Finding Nemo movies, I'd rather watch Finding Nemo because it's the better movie. And that rounds up the Cars trilogy. It's got good moments. I used to love it a lot more when I was younger because I think it's more targeted at a younger audience. But it's still, I think if I had to watch a Cars movie, I'd probably go with this one because it's great to see Lightning McQueen come from an obnoxious asshole to a nice, kind-hearted person who is a valued member of the town who falls in love with the town. When putting this list together, I was kind of shocked at how low I actually ended up being because I thought it'd be lower, but when I reflected on it, I thought it made perfect sense because even though I do love this movie, it really peaks at the first 10 minutes. So after you are able to see Pixar do that amazing story of an entire couple's life together in 10 minutes and kind of make you cry without actually saying anything, it's a good movie, but it just kind of falls a bit flat as it goes on when you go to Paradise Falls and all that. It just doesn't hold up as well as the start of it. It's not really a movie I've actually ever loved, but when it's on, I do watch it. It's not one I tend to put on myself a lot, but I do really enjoy it whenever I do end up watching it. That's why I think it came in a bit lower than Up, because I think I've seen it more, and when I do see it, I enjoy it more than Up. And I think getting, I can't remember the actress's name, but who plays Phyllis in The Office, getting her to play Sadness was perfect. So every time I actually watch The Office, all I think of is Phyllis, and it's just, or all I think of is sadness when I hear Phyllis's voice, and I think it's just brilliant. Having one of Pixar's best villains, it's a good movie, great story, but it's never one that I've actually really loved. I've seen it so many times. I understand why people love it, but it's just one movie that I've just never loved as much. So for a movie that everyone else thinks is incredible, I just think it's okay. Another one, when I was putting this list together to see how shocked how high it was, but when I reflected it made sense as well, because it's a great movie. I don't think it's as good as the other Toy Story movies or as some other movies in this list, but it's got some great tear-jerking moments at the end of this movie, and it is a great movie. Just like Up, Wally was able to set up a whole relationship without actually saying anything, but they were able to do it in 30 to 40 minutes, and it's just beautiful where they're just the two, it's just Wally and Eve and this destroyed Earth, and they're by themselves, and you see a relationship building between them. The second act isn't as good as the start, but it does have great moments where, I think it's an iconic animated scene where Wally and Eve are actually in space and they're flying around together. It's just a beautifully shot scene, and it's an amazing movie. Apparently, when animating this movie, Pixar had to dial the water back to make it a bit more cartoonish because they got it exactly like the ocean. I don't see it. I just see the ocean when I see this because I think the animation is just flawless in this. This movie's just got beautiful animation, amazing side characters like Bruce the Shark, even Dory, who's such a good character. They actually gave her own movie, and unlike some characters in Pixar, her spin-off movie was great. Now, even though this movie is it's a huge story where it's one father crossing the entire ocean just to collect his son back. It's still even though it's such a big scope, it's such a small movie where it's a father trying to get his son back. That's all the movie is, even though it's a huge journey to do that. I was so glad we got a fourth installment from the Toy Story franchise. I'd love a fifth one. I just thought this made perfect sense to actually continue on the story of the toys and this movie. It made sense where this is what would happen next in their story rather than them just ending when Andy left. And please give me a fifth movie, just please. I'd love a fifth one. When I first seen this movie walking out, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was one of Pixar's best. I didn't really think much of it, but then when the Blu-ray came out, I bought it. I've watched it about 3 or 4 times since then, and every single time I watch it, I think it drops lower and lower on my list. And I think, you never know, it might be one someday, because I think this movie is so heartwarming. It's beautifully animated, and the music in this movie is just great. I think it's such an enjoyable movie to watch. As I said in my Toy Story ranking, Mike and Sully's relationship is so good, it can almost challenge Buzz and Woody's, where you actually believe Mike and Sully are actually best friends. And the father-daughter relationship that Sully and Boo develop over this movie it's amazing. And when they have to say goodbye at the end of this movie, you can actually feel your heart being ripped out of your chest. It's that good. For a story that most people brush off and say it's one of Pixar's worst, I actually think it's one of their best, where it's such a breath of fresh air, where it's such a new and original idea, where a lot of them aren't, where you have The Incredibles, which is it's just a remake of the Fantastic Four, but they added in the Flash. Monsters Inc. is just, there's a monster in my closet, which has been known for years. But this movie itself is just it's an original idea where it's a rat who all he wants to do is cook. He knows he can't cook, so he controls a man by pulling his hair. And I love this movie, and I got to meet Brad Bird last year, and when I was waiting in line, seeing everyone else have posters of The Incredibles, Incredibles 2, Mission Impossible, and even The Iron Giant, and I was there with my Ratatouille poster when I gave to him. He was a bit shocked because I can't imagine a lot of people be getting a Ratatouille movie poster sign, but I loved it. I love this movie, and I think I'll watch it more than The Incredibles. So as I've said many, many, many times, I think now, I love Toy Story, and I go back and forth all the time which I prefer more, Toy Story 1 or Toy Story 2. At this current moment in time, I prefer Toy Story 2. But Toy Story 1 is still an amazing movie where it set up the whole computer animated world. The story's great, characters are great, and it's an amazing soundtrack, but no one ever actually talks about it. Where all they ever talk about is You've Got a Friend with Me because it's so iconic, but then you're forgetting about Strange Things. And what's the song when Buzz, he's about to jump out the window and falls? Can't remember the name, but that is an amazing song. Why don't people actually talk about this soundtrack? The final movie in this list just had to be a Toy Story movie, where Toy Story 2, they take what they did right in Toy Story 1 and they just fucking double it. So you get great characters, new additions to the cast like Bullseye and even Jesse, and then a character I actually always forget about, which is Wheezy. So we've got a great film and a really heartbreaking scene in the middle, and I think that's why it comes in as my favourite Pixar movie. So that's my list. Let me know what your favourite Pixar movie is down below in the comments, and don't forget to click that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.